Should be kicking on right now. All right, man. Hey, listen, look at the background. Look at the man with his business working, got it going. Listen, I'm excited to see. It's been a little bit. So fill me in what's
Yeah.
happening. You got people busting around, moving around, bustling.
Yeah, it's lunchtime. Seeing
Activity.
cars rolling in. I had to turn my back to the thing because if I see people want to start stressing out, I feel like I have the need to hop in there.
That's awesome. So you had your launch day in October. Was it
Yep.
October?
October 25th. Yep.
Okay. So this was a quick turnaround because you actually found out about the opportunity to get the building to go from the taco truck only to
Yep.
also the building. What was that
Yeah.
in the summer?
Yeah, I think we went to Emerge in May? I think it was May where a merge happened. That's where Rex had that corporate prophetic word. And then so we came back, submitted an offer, probably accepted in June. And then we closed August 4th.
Yeah.
It was really fast.
That's awesome, man. That's incredible. So that was a quick turnaround. So
Yeah.
I saw some pictures, just the place packed and people are, eating food.
It's been it's been great. It's been a lot of learning, but a huge blessing. Like I can't express how great it's been to be here and work here and meet people, talk to people. And just today there was the guy I was talking to, Ryan. He just walks in with his Bible, eats a burrito, reading his Bible. Last week I caught some older lady pull 2 police officers aside and pray for him in the hallway. Like I took a photo of it and she had no idea. Like I bought her food and she started crying. I was like, this is what it's all about. And I showed her the taco ministry on the back. And then I showed her our slogan above the wall. It says, "Come hungry, leave filled." And she just teared up. I just love that.
That's great.
I think she teared up because she would have done it anywhere, knowing this lady. But I think she knew that where she was at, and we believed in it, and we honored it. She just loved it. So I love seeing that.
She's got police officers, and she's laying hands on the cops.
I have a photo of it. It's funny. Yeah, it was great. Yeah.
So what is something you learned in this pioneering situation?
I've learned a lot about human behavior. That's one thing. good and bad. I think practically is being able to step away and work on the business. I naturally want to be in it. Like now, I have to turn my back to it because I'm going to start thinking I got to hop in. But I've slowly gone comfortable with letting my team do what they do. I'm working on the business, doing things that are actually moving the business forward, systems, processes, things like that, as opposed to me pushing a button. That's been huge. I feel like every proverb I'm reading is real life to me. Talking about like a man's hunger is like what drives him pretty much. Yes. Like it's very, very true. So when I'm practically in it, I think the Bible has really come to life even more so because of where I'm at with working with people every day is different than doing media online or running social media online. Just day-to-day transactions, day-to-day people, and just being sensitive to people's emotions, how people are. They could be rude. Doesn't mean they're a rude person. They could have a bad day. I got to be sensitive to that and treat them with grace and remember that we're a taco ministry, and I treat it as such.
Yeah, it's incredible. So you've been people just is it the referral as people just see? Are they just driving through and seeing, and are you? It's a
mixture of both. It's incredible how many Californians are here. At one point, one day, I kid you not, there were probably 4 or 5 groups, every other person that were within 10 miles of where I grew up. I think there's so many Californians that left California to here, Arizona, and you get a sniff of street tacos. They're all over it, so that's one thing, word of mouth. And we're also in a very high traffic area. When I was doing the pitch deck, I think it was something like 16,000 cars a day. Just right here where I'm looking at is Raising Cane's Chicken. They have a huge following. They're still under construction. So when that opens up, that's going to be huge. We're 2 blocks off the highway. There's a highway right here. It's just a really busy busy area. So I think it's just a mixture of a plethora of things. Our online presence is strong, so it's just everything. Good product, good online presence, good traffic. I mean,
Yeah.
it really is a God story for us to get this spot right here.
That's awesome. And so you feel like you are, I mean, you have good profit, you guys are making money, you're doing well.
It's doing good. Our profit's good. I'm paying back a bunch of stuff. Like we bootstrapped this whole thing. I took out every line of credit I possibly could. We're paying back a lot of stuff. It's funny because we got a line of credit from our POS software called Toast Capital. And then for the first, it's only been a month and a half since we've been operating. I'm like, man, where's all our money going? This is not making any sense. We're doing good money. It turns out they're taking a quarter of what we're making. And I was like, oh, every day. So
Really?
we made $5,000 yesterday to take out over $1,000. I'm like, oh, I felt like a failure for a while. I was like, something's wrong. Turns out
the repayment plan. The repayment plan will get you set up, get you going.
I thought it was 10%, but I took out two capital loans and they combined them. So it was 25%. I'm like, okay, and I feel better now because we're actually profitable. That's good.
You're profitable. You're making money, and you'll knock that out real quick. So that's good.
We have 16 days left to pay back. Oh, like another $13,000. So they're taking about $1,000 a day. So after that, we'll be looking really good, which is awesome. Our margins are awesome. Everything's looking great. I'm really happy with how everything's working out. I'm learning a whole lot about numbers.
And that's business, baby. That's business. The numbers, and keeping your eye on the numbers, knowing exactly what's happening, what's working. And then you are leading a larger team than you were leading before, right? You have a little bit more.
I've got 7. I've got 2, 4, 6 here now. We have 7 or 8. I think I have 7 on the team total. We just pushed our hours back 2.5 hours. That was great because that small little shift increased our daily sales by about $1,000. So that compounded over 20 days we're open is paying for one person, 2 people's salary. So just that small little shift made a huge difference.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. That's cool. Do you have anything you want to share with the viewers before we get into some talks and teaching? Do you want to stay on, or do you have to go back and hustle?
No, I'm good. I don't want to look back. I'm good. I'm staying on. I'm excited. It's been too long since I've been on here.
Hey, listen, maybe we can just keep you in view, and then we just go back and forth with what I wanted to talk about.
That'd be great.
That's good. All right. So, but do you have any thoughts before we jump in it? Today, I want to talk about the reason leaders lose respect. Number one reason leaders lose respect and lose opportunities.
I love it. I'm learning a lot about being a leader.
This is my opening, everyone. Listen, Steve Sanchez is here with us. He has Cantura. His taco ministry, taco business. It's really taco business, but taco ministry happens here. He serves tacos and people get blessed, and so it's pretty amazing. A lot of people on YouTube are like, "Is this AI? Is this AI?" You must be, your background must look really good. Like I'm having an AI conversation.
They're real people.
They're real people happening here right here. And so what's really cool is that it's active, and you're in your business. And one of the things about business is being able to be a leader in such a way that you can step away and do the things that you need to do. And here's the number one reason leaders lose respect, influence, and opportunity. And what I want you to really get, it's not because of talent or lack of talent. It's not because of skill. It's not even because of someone's anointing. It's because people have an inability to hear. Listening skills, developing your listening skills. And when you don't take time to develop your listening skills, you'll miss the real issue, the real problem. And so inattentive listening is really what I want to talk about today, Stephen. When you and I have been in conversations, we really pay attention to each other. We take notes. And what I really like when we're in conversation, you go back and you usually have some kind of something recording or something listening, so you can go back and get the transcript, and you look through them, and then you'll do that. But a lot of people don't listen to the point that they hear and hear again. So inattentive listening is not rebellion; it's mishearing, and that's what people are encountering right now. We're encountering people so distracted with their phones, distracted by other things, that they're not actually paying full and complete attention. Stephen, one of the things that I don't think I sent this reel to you, but I found out that there's a strategy in script writing right now, which is to kind of dumb down your script for the sake of second level hearing. meaning I'm watching something and I'm reading or scrolling at the same time. So I can't actually like write a script in such a way that is going to actually create, an intensity that needs detail and attention. And that's a problem for our society. What do you think?
I agree. I've heard someone say, when it comes to scripting the emails, assume that they're drunk reading it in the back of a car. So single lines, spaces, so I can just read it really quickly. If you look at my captions on my Instagram page, I write them like that rather than doing one long paragraph. We get turned off by that. If you have punchy one-liners,
one-liners,
and I'm working the SOPs here. I'm working with our kitchen manager, and it sounds bad, but like we have to assume everybody's an idiot. They're not idiots, but assume that they are, so that anybody I grab up the street and I plug them in there, they can pick it up and look at it. Turn on grill, check. Turn on extractors, check. All that stuff. And it's just, I don't want you to be a robot. I want them to be able to use their brains, but the systems, like you and I you were coaching me on, the systems run the business and the people run the systems, and they have to assume that they're not very sharp, but they really are.
Yeah, and you do that, and that's been the key success to all franchises is the fact that you can put anyone in a position. It doesn't take a specialized skill to do this aspect, and if it does, we need to that's upper echelon, or we need to break that down into a system that helps. And so I think that is a powerful thing, and I love the idea. I've never thought about that before. I'm glad you shared that. Is that assume that they're drunk in the backseat of a car reading this? that changes everything. My writing is going to change in my emails. I'm assuming that everyone's drunk in the back of the car reading this, and so when you have that assumption, I mean, it just takes you to that another level. So when we realize that we're interacting on a daily basis with people that are have never really developed or are losing the skill of listening, they're losing the skill of paying attention. They're losing the skill of actually giving you their attention. And so when we are hearing amiss, which is the inattentive hearing, so we're not hearing everything. So imagine if we're on the phone and all of a sudden it starts to break up, and then it's like and you go down and you should be there. You miss so much detail in the fact that the breakup of the phone is happening, and you're like, wait, can you say that again? And but when we're in conversation, most people don't ask for you to repeat that because they are purposely dismissing or inattentive. And this obedience is the difference. Obedience isn't passive. Sometimes people think, well, if you're going to be obedient, if you're going to do obedience, then it's going to be passive. It's called attentive listening in the Bible, which is really interesting. Inattentive listening is considered disobedience in the scriptures. There's a Greek word that means inattentive listening, and it's found in 2 Corinthians chapter 10, and it says this: after you are working and you're dealing with life, and you're dealing with life every day. We deal with arguments as leaders. We deal with arguments in ourselves, but we deal with arguments around us. But how many arguments do you have even within yourself, just eating all day? And this is lot. I mean, you have all these arguments that are going on. So you have these constant arguments, and you have to keep pulling arguments down, and then allow the truth to rise, the right information, the right knowledge. And so arguments come on a consistent basis to try to pull us out of our right process of thinking.
Yep.
And so let's say you're starting this new company, this new business, and all of a sudden you're experiencing, like you said, I'm learning a lot. I'm encountering a lot. You find out that they're taking out, they're the creditor, they are taking the loan is being paid every single day or every single month. And so it's like coming out more than you expect, and you think, well, I'm not very good at business. That's an argument. That argument will try to talk you out of business, but you got to contradict that argument. You have to actually cast the argument down. You have to actually punish it. And so when the Bible says that we have to punish every argument that exalts itself against the knowledge of God. The knowledge of God is that you're called to be successful. You're called to be an achiever. Well, then if anything comes and says you're not that, then you have to argue with it. You have to cast it down and rule the argument. And then that thing wants to lead you to disobedience. It wants to lead you to a place where you're discouraged, you're frustrated. And then it says in verse 6, and being ready to punish all disobedience when your obedience is fulfilled. Now, this is really, you're going to love this. The word punish there means to vindicate one's right or to do justice. It literally means to exact a punishment on a murderer. So when something's trying to get you not to listen, or someone's not paying attention to you, it's as if murder is happening. You've got to be able to, I mean, you're wasting my time if you're not really listening to me, right? Isn't that true? And people don't take it seriously when you're actually having a conversation and someone's not paying attention to you. Like someone's in a board meeting and all of a sudden someone's on their phone. And you're thinking, you're not really paying attention. You're over there doing something, scrolling, you go, And that's actually murdering the event. That's murdering the conversation. It's murder. And so we have to punish that disobedience, that inattentive hearing. Isn't that intense? What do you think about that?
That's great. I love it because I'm working on this concept called I shared that book with you called Unreasonable Hospitality, right? I was like, I love that. And I'm developing a concept here called the diligent difference of like how to operate a business diligently and different than most people do in the area. And that's a prime example on taking an order from someone or having a conversation here and they're talking to you, and I could either be focused on what's happening around the kitchen or hear another conversation or focus on that one specific person. And if I'm listening to them, it's like you said, it's murdering the conversation. Some guys tell me that dad died a couple weeks ago, and I could very easily be like, yeah, gotta go. But I put aside what I had to do in the kitchen because this guy's opening up to me, telling me that his dad passed away. He's having a hard time. It's the holiday season. And I had a decision to either focus on him or run my business. Both are technically the right answer, but the diligent difference is focusing on what customer and what they're dealing with at that moment in time.
The diligent difference.
Yeah,
I love it. And that's important because that person becomes very meaningful. That person becomes very important. And so when you're looking at this, we say, oh, I'm just always in conversation where people, they're not paying attention. Don't worry about it. But that's literally in the world of understanding between obedience and disobedience, or attentive listening and inattentive listening. When someone's inattentive in the conversation, it's literally murder. It's murder. It's a penalty, should be penalized. And not where you hurt and you murder, but you got to treat it with like, okay, this is disrespectful. I can't have any more conversations with this person, or I have to make sure I get their attention so that we can start building life in the conversation again, because otherwise death is just in the conversation. If you hear only a portion of what I say, then you're going to walk away and act on the portion you have, but not on the portion I need you to hear. And so not hearing the details is very dangerous in anything we do as leaders. Right now I'm encountering people that are not listening to each other. They're not listening to the details. And then it's really interesting because people are not listening. When you're not listening, you really are like, someone says they don't really care for you. They're not really paying the value that you need. But that conversation is over. You actually need to know. And what we do is we have a repercussion of all of these things. Well, you never said that. Well, yes, I did. It was very detailed. And now we have to actually have recorded. We have to have an AI bot recording us so that everything can be called back to attention. It's because the police officers have to walk around. Everybody is going to have cameras in after a while, because the fact is everything is arguable if you don't have it. If you don't have it actually out anymore. And the attentive listening is extremely important. So in a few minutes, I want to give a few points of attentive listening, how we can develop our skill. But let's think about this idea of attentive listening, disobedience. Let's think about why does the Bible call it disobedience? Why is inattentive listening disobedience? The act of disobedience is the hearing amiss, missing details, or inactively listening. So it's really important. If you want to hear details in a conversation, you have to really, truly, really give your attention to it. You can't be distracted, like you said, in the back seat of a car, drunk, or you can't be encumbered in any way. You have to actually be focused. And with I think the latest statistic on attention span is 3 seconds to capture attention, or else you lose attention. I mean, that's really I don't know what the generations in the future look like. And, how we're going to actually be able to help a generation that just can't pay attention or doesn't,
Yeah.
and after a while, it seems like, or you're not important enough, or you're not entertaining enough. Because almost right now, you and I study viral things. Viral things are about being able to get attention and keep that attention, but you have to get that attention very quickly. And most of the time, the quicker you have to get attention, it means you have to be shocking. You have to be something has to be so
The off factor. Yeah.
Yeah. So what do you have to think? What do you have to say about any of that?
Does what you're saying about listening, does that also fall under like read between the lines of what they're emotionally saying, or is it just like listening to what the details of what you're saying? Like if someone's telling you something, you're like, I hear you, I'm listening, but I feel like you are feeling this certain way. Does that fall into the same category as what you're saying?
Yeah. Well, and that's actually very good listening. That's attentive listening, because you're actually going beyond just what they're saying, the words
between the lines.
You're looking at the body language. You're looking at this, whether or not they can keep eye contact, and then being able to summarize. Being able to repeat back to them, summarize what they're saying. So what I feel like you're saying, or what it seems like you're saying, or what it sounds like is this. And then when you go back to that, because what most people do is they don't go back to referencing what a person just said and clarifying what we just said.
Yeah.
Clarifying them. I just want to make sure we're on the same page. This sounds like what you're saying. This is what you're saying. Okay, now we can continue the conversation. What most people do is they say, oh yeah, you know what? This happened to me last week. And then the conversation just spins off. And they start telling their story, and instead of going, I heard your story, I want to make sure you know that I heard your story before I interject as if I'm relating to your story. So we feel like, we just jump off, and often that never comes back to the listener. It always takes off with the talker. And so we have to get to that place where we are in that space where we're paying attention enough to where we could actually summarize back to them and go, this is what I hear you saying, and this is what I feel like you're really saying to me, or this is, and then really paying attention to where their feelings are in it, because a lot of people don't know how to express their feelings anymore. They don't, because we're just like, I think emojis are very fun, but emojis have taken away our ability to articulate. I mean, to actually get down and actually say, this is how I'm feeling. So we'll just put this on. Up, right? Just all of these shortcuts.
Or they know. It seems they know how to express it, but not face to face. People express it and dump all their stuff on social media, Google reviews. It's like a safe space where there is no human interaction. Probably fear of like a repercussion or a real conversation.
And I think that a real conversation, and like you said, repercussions, accountability. And if we keep getting away with things that are just loosely, kind of raveled together, and we are constantly ranting, there's no accountability. We are kind of set up in a realm where only certain people are accountable and other people are not. And so that also opens up the door for us to have inattentive listening or disobedient hearing. And a disobedience is not like you're bad. It's not a way of like someone trying to be bad or someone trying to do something awful to you. They just are not. They're missing details. They're not listening for the details. And we have that in our businesses often. And we have things that go array and mess up because we just don't have people that are paying that close of attention. Sometimes I'll be in I find myself doing this. I'll share this big long thing, and then someone will come in and they'll hear it, and they're not actually hearing what I said, and so they'll say something different, and I'll say, no, wait, I have to repeat to you what I just said, and then finally I have to just break it down to bullet points, because people aren't able to disseminate knowledge from a conversation anymore. It has to be such a pointed, like you said, one-liner that people can go, okay, it's one liner. It's like this idea, the realm of idealization or ideas or ideals is really weird. You have to actually go random and just almost be bullet point to actually get your point across, and you have to be repetitive. So you probably count on that, when the more you're dealing with in your business, the more leadership, because this is a leadership problem I'm finding. Leaders are also bad listeners. So if you have an employee that's a bad listener, that's one thing. But if you're a leader that's your bad listener, you're not even paying attention to your employees. You're not paying attention attention to your customers. I love how you stopped and you said, I need to pay attention to my customers. I need to pay attention to my employees. I need to pay attention to what's happening, because that attentiveness is going to save you money in the long way. In the long run, people always dismiss, or they relinquish in leadership. And when you relinquish in leadership, that's inattentive listening, that's inattentive hearing. And you're allowing people just to run a direction, and then you get upset with them when they run that direction, and then they're not, you know.
I'm just like, yep.
So so success comes from attentive listening, hearing and understanding details, understanding cues, conclusions, and a call to action. So that's very important that we have that, you know, we have the cues, conclusions, and call to action. And I think as leaders, we have to be people who can come to conclusions, but we also have to be people who can help people come to conclusions. Because if a person doesn't come to a conclusion, they can't take the action. If they miss the cues, then they can't take the action. If they don't see themselves missing it, or if they don't see themselves, you know, if they don't see themselves, someone's writing some distracting things in the comments. I'm gonna get out of that for a second. It's like some guy named Lucifer or something. He's writing distractive stuff in the comments. And so
I'll take care of him.
Okay. So when we have this inability to understand details, not just hear details, but to understand the details that we're hearing, and then we can't come to the right. We don't have the hearing and listening cues. We don't hear that, like you said. I feel like you're saying this. I see something. You're saying one thing. You sound really confident, but man, your eye contact is really, you know, failing. Something else is happening. Or like what you did with that person that, you know, my dad just passed away, and then you took a moment just to peel off and listen in, and you saw the cues, you came to conclusion, and you were able to make a different call to action.
Yeah,
very powerful. Any other things in this last 6 months, just where you've seen where listening had to really step in, and where you maybe saw that listening didn't work very well?
I think even just seeing someone on my team communicate to someone else, and I didn't even really hear what was said, but I can see, like you said, body language.
Yeah.
And I'm like, hey, what's going on? Like, and he's like, nothing. I was like, and yet when I knew, like, all right, what's going on at home? How you feeling? Are you up to this job? Are you up to this? And then it was able to really get to the root of it all. And he was like, open up to me a little bit, you know. So it's body language, it's attitude, it's tonality, all that stuff. Listening from a distance, listening with your eyes, that's pretty interesting to see. Listening with my eyes, because I saw it, I really couldn't hear it. And there was frustration that was portrayed over a small little thing that did not require that much energy into addressing what happened.
And body language is huge, to be able to listen with your eyes, to be able to pay attention when a person feels uncomfortable. I often see that people feel very uncomfortable in a conversation, or if someone wants someone to stop talking about a certain thing and they're not paying attention to their body language. They're just, you know, continuing on, and it's an uncomfortable thing. So if we can master the art of listening with our eyes, listening with our ears, and then paying attention. Let me give you just, you know, we can talk about one at a time. The Bible tells us that there is this power of getting open doors and having opportunities. And the Lord says it so simply that we can actually repass it. And it's ask, seek, and knock. And if we can take those three things, those to ask, seek, and knock, and apply that in every conversation. So in the first aspect of the conversation, I'm listening, and I'm making sure that I'm listening in such a way that I have something to ask. And so I'm going to ask a probing, clarifying question. Like you said, it's great. You know, it's what you're saying. So we have the ask, and the Bible says, if you ask, you shall have, you shall receive. And so whenever you're in that receiving mode, you're not in the giving mode, you're asking, you're in the receiving mode. A person needs to know that you're receiving the context and the confirmation and the conversation. Everything that you're asking is about what they're giving. So you're receiving. And so the more you ask, the more you receive. It's not the more you talk, you receive. The more you talk, you disseminate. The more you ask, you receive. And so you ask giving questions, and then this asking shows that you're listening, shows that you actually have the right details, you have the right conclusion, you have the right understanding. And it's important that when you're in this asking mode that you don't ask you don't just jump off of the conversation and you don't just jump to conclusions. So that's where a lot of the improper listening comes, is we conclude things without actually having confirmation of that our conclusions have come to the right, we've come to the right conclusion. I find that it's really interesting. You and your wife are amazing team. You're an amazing team. You guys work really hard at being a team, but you work really hard together. And what's really I find that I'm discussing with some leaders, and I'm like, let's talk about your wife and your family and your marriage or your husband. And they don't really know what their husband or their wives want or what they like. They don't really know their vision. They don't know their calling. They don't know the purpose. They don't know. I'm like, what do you guys do? What do you guys do? You guys talk? I mean, do you ask questions? You have to ask questions. And when you ask questions, you kind of conclusions. And so I think a lot of people jump to conclusions that, well, I'm doing it so they want to do it, or or whatever it may be. But you've had to work through some conversations. You've had to work through some things, even coming to launch businesses and to be in ministry. And those things come because you actually have to learn to ask questions. You have to learn to not jump to the conclusions. And then the second thing is not interrupting. Don't interrupt someone. It's like when this is really like when I get interrupted and someone interrupts me, I literally just stop that conversation and I start listening to them, and I know I won't come back to them. I won't come back to them. I won't try to force it, because I realize you're actually not listening enough to actually pay attention without interrupting. So you don't really concerned about what I'm saying. So that interruption is also inattentive listening. When you interrupt someone and you force them to have to force themselves, that's a punishment to the conversation. And that's a murdering thing. And then the last thing about asking is what you said earlier, is ask reflection. Reflection is that going back to that place of agreement, that place of like we're on the same page, getting on the same page. So that's the first thing that Jesus said, is when you're going to receive, have open doors, you're going to have to actually have an asking quality to receive. You can't be a talking quality to receive, to be asking. The second thing he says is seek. He said seek. And this seek is very important, because it's now I'm not seeking anything but to understand. I'm not seeking to be understood. When I'm a listener, I'm seeking to understand. When I'm a talker, I'm someone that wants to be understood. So we have to give that same attention as if we want someone else to listen when we're talking. And so seek to understand. And this is when you give that full attention, when you're fully focused. I love how you turned your back so that you can actually listen and be focused. You can't see anything going on behind you, because you want to be a distraction. You want to be fully attentive. And when you're fully attentive, and that means there's several things with this full attention, is maintaining eye contact. That is something that's hard to do in this modern day. There's so much activity. People are walking by, you're looking, hey, that's inattentive. So being able to really focus and look that person in the eye and use nonverbal cues like nodding, those things that you're doing right now. You're a great listener.
Because my back's turned.
You're seeking to understand. And when you're seeking to understand, you really have to hone in. And then the last thing that Jesus said, the third thing that Jesus said on this road to open doors, he said, knock. He said, knock. Now, this is important, because we've asked, and people want to start with knocking, but you want to ask. He says, ask, seek, and knock. So the asking is first, the seeking is second, and the knocking comes later. It's not knock, seek, and ask. It's not that. It's completely different. So how do you actually start with the knocking after you've heard everything? Is you adopt a curious mind. There's more to pull out of this. There's more to extract from this. There's more details here. There's more concepts here. There's more that you see. But when did you first experience that? When did you first think that thought? How did you do this? So we dig deeper, and we go deeper, we dive deeper, and we then we go from that curious thought. Then we're going to break down the summary. I like reading books. After I read the chapter, it has like a little bullet point summary. We break down the summary. And then the third aspect of this knock is demonstrate empathy. Make sure if they're feeling a certain way, you feel that way, right? You cry with those that are, you might not have to get the tears, but you just feel what they're feeling. And like you did for that gentleman. I love that you opened up that door, that conversation today with, this gentleman had this problem. His father passed away. I had orders to do. We had a lot of stuff to do, but I was able to pull away, and I was able to have demonstration of empathy. I can feel what you're going through. I can feel that you're going through something. So that means that when we're knocking, we're curious. When we're knocking, we're summarizing. And when we're knocking, we're feeling what they're feeling. We're now. So those are the three things that I wanted to share today with the peeps. And I'm glad that you were able to jump on. This has been a fun time for me. Any thoughts you want to give on this?
I think the knocking is a component that people can miss very easily. Listening and responding is not natural, but it's taught all over the place. The knocking, discovering is like, I'm thinking back to the conversation I had with one of my staff members. Like, I forgot to knock. I didn't ask, like, hey, when did you first think you weren't adequate for a position? When did you think about this? I get it. I've been there too. It takes a process to get from here to here and talk to your team this way. That's a crucial part. Because then it goes even deeper as to, he didn't just hear me. He was listening and understands me. I mean, people always want to hear, me too. Like an addict, me too. Yeah. I've been there too. Or someone's abused. Yeah, I've been there too. So knocking is a component that I'm definitely going to implement in the future. I think that's crucial.
That's awesome. Ask, seek, and knock. And that's the way we receive and we step into. So this was the number one thing I think that, especially as we move forward, we're having a lot of people with rhetoric and ranting. So not a lot of listening skills, a lot of talking skills. So we're going to become better leaders and stronger leaders. Man, it's been good to see you, Stephen. I missed you, missed hanging out with you, missed seeing you. And
I know. I'm on a mission to get back on.
Yeah, and so this, if you can, you and I will talk offline, but if you got to get back and
no, I'm good. I have a small little eye on the line right there. We're good.
Okay. Good.
I'm not fully turned away.
You can see a little bit. You can see in the reflection.
Yeah,
that's awesome. Yeah. That's awesome. Well, everybody, we will release a blessing over you, the favor of God over you. If you're in Coeur d'Alene, get over to Cantura and make sure that you have some tacos and some grub. So horchata, you have horchata, right? Yes.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, you got to have it. All right, and you have like these little chorizo bites, right? You still have those little chorizo bites? Not chorizo bites.
Like churro bites, little churro fries.
Churro bites.
Oh yeah,
churro bites. Yeah.
We got a lot of good stuff. Hope you got to get out here soon.
I will. I do have to get out there soon. I'm gonna have to make that happen real quick. So, all right, everybody, thank you for tuning in. This is we're breaking through barriers. This is Success Church, and we're excited to be a part of your life. Don't forget to like, subscribe, share. Send this off to other people. I see Erica Hart there. Hello, Erica. Good to see you there. All right, everyone, take care. We'll see you next week, 11:30. Is it next week? Yeah, next week. We're almost Christmas. Did you start doing your Christmas stuff? I'm just now. It's finished. Almost all done with my shopping. Actually, just started to decorate. I didn't even do any decorations. My family did.
We have no lights in our house. I feel horrible.
You have it all. You have it all there, right there.
Yeah.
So, all right. We'll talk to you guys soon. We'll see you next week. Thanks, everyone.